On March 23, 1993, Carmen Hope Van Huss was attacked. Inside her studio apartment on the north side of Indianapolis, Carmen had been raped, beaten, and stabbed several times. Her father found her 2 days later. Carmen Hope Van Huss was born on October 9, 1973, in Indianapolis, Indiana. Although her parents divorced when she was young and she had been raised primarily by an aunt and uncle, Carmen remained close to her parents and younger brother. Carmen attended Lawrence Central High School, where she struggled to keep up with her classes, and would eventually drop out, earning her GED instead. Carmen's family remembers her as a beautiful and lovable young woman. Family members frequently add that Carmen never caused any trouble, loved animals so much that she had dreams of becoming a veterinarian as a kid, and who later found a passion for drawing. To this day, Carmen's brother, who was only 15 when his sister was killed, holds onto a portfolio that was put together by his sister, including intricate drawings and sketches of bodies, bold portraits of stylish women, and bright colors and contrasting themes. In March of 1993, Carmen went with her dad and kid brother to the hospital to see her grandmother, who was ill. They left after visiting hours. It was a gray, drizzly night, temps around 40. Her father was concerned about Carmen making the nearly 20-mile drive from his place back to her empty apartment. Carmen's BF was out of state that week, late in the evening in crummy weather. He asked her to sleep over. Carmen declined. She worked as a waitress at Pizza Hut and told him that she needed to wash her uniform before her shift on Tuesday. Carmen returned to her apartment around 11 p.m. with an unidentified man, and further explained that they had heard the pair laughing and talking as they walked up the building's stairs. Further statements made by neighbors indicated to police that Carmen was attacked by this unidentified man in her apartment between 1 a.m. and 1:30 a.m. After hearing Carmen yell, "Get off me! Get off me!" before hearing silence. Unfortunately, no one would call the police after hearing this struggle, and would instead send in a noise complaint to the apartment's office, who left a handwritten note on Van Huss' door, chiding her for the noise and telling her to be more considerate of her neighbors. On March 24th, Pizza Hut managers were worried after Van Huss missed days of work and didn't answer her phone. They looked up the emergency contact on her employment application and reached her father. Carmen did not arrive for her shift on Tuesday. When she didn't show up or call in to advise she would make it again on Wednesday, he said he would drive to her apartment, and check. When he arrives, he finds a note on the door that it was placed by the complex manager on Tuesday morning, reminding Carmen to be respectful of her neighbors and keep noise to a minimum. Late at night, James knocks on the door, but there is no answer. When he tries the door, he finds it unlocked. Entering the apartment, he finds the partially clothed body of his 19-year-old daughter. She's been stabbed to death. Indianapolis Metro PD responds that they find a veritable treasure trove of evidence. A couple of empty beer bottles, remnants of a fast food dinner. Carmen's body is analyzed at the coroner's office and a rape kit is performed. The neighbors who complained to the complex manager about noise, watches her apartment becomes a crime scene, and the coroner van arrives to take their neighbor to the morgue. According to investigators, information gathered from the evidence found in her apartment, including the remnants of a fast food meal, and bottles of beer, have led them to believe that Carmen knew her killer. According to court documents, Marion County Sheriff's deputies were called to Van Huss' apartment on a report of an unconscious person. There, they found the teen dead, lying naked on her back on the floor next to a bed. There were signs of a struggle, including a knocked-over table, clothing thrown on the floor, a large pool of blood near Van Huss' head, and blood splatter around her body. She had over 60 stab wounds to her head, face, and body. She was missing her left earring. Investigators believe the assault took place in the living room, with the suspect going into the kitchen to possibly wash himself. It has been confirmed that Carmen's ex-boyfriends had been interviewed. Soon after her death, one of the men was found to have been out of state at the time of her death, and both men were cleared by DNA testing. DNA testing was completed early in the case. However, this testing would lead to no information. It was quickly revealed that the crime lab had sent the wrong samples to be tested after results showed investigators that the samples belonged to Carmen, not their unidentified male suspect. In just one of the DNA issues around this case, when the rape kit is sent for DNA testing, the lab returns DNA specifying that a female of European descent was responsible. They returned Carmen's DNA, not that of the man who raped and stabbed her to death. Things got slowed down. Police investigate Carmen's boyfriend. He was out of state at the time of her murder. They take a look at her former boyfriend. He has an alibi, but acts sketchy, cooperative, but something is off. His strange behavior culminates in him moving out of state not long after Carmen was murdered. At the time of her death, she had a job waiting tables at Pizza Hut and lived with her boyfriend. I'm not sure how serious their relationship was though. She didn't have any legal troubles, nor was she into drugs or other high-risk behaviors. Eventually, the proper DNA comes back and both current and former BF are eliminated. They could not have raped and killed Carmen. 31 years later, suspect arrested. Deputy Chief Kendall Adams said detectives in their unsolved homicide unit used genetic genealogy and advanced analytic capabilities to identify and arrest her alleged killer. In 2000, detectives requested to add Van Huss DNA to state and national databases. In 2013, forensic scientists obtained a partial DNA profile of a man from evidence found in a bag at Van Huss' apartment, but they were unable to find a match. A DNA analysis company contacted the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department in 2023, saying it identified a user who could be related to a person of interest in the case, Dana Shepard. Detectives were able to identify Dana Shepard as a suspect in the case in 2024 after obtaining DNA samples for traditional forensic testing. The Marion County Forensic Services Agency notified unsolved homicide unit detectives that Shepard's DNA profile matched DNA samples found at the scene and on Van Huss' body. Detectives attempted to speak with Shepard, but he refused to talk without legal representation. Shepard lived at the same apartment complex as Carmen in 1993, and the units were connected by a shared common area, including a laundry room, according to court documents viewed by Dana Jermaine Shepard, 52, is charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of rape in connection with the 1993 death of Carmen Hope Van Huss.